President Trump's decision to raise tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from 25 to 50%.
Going to bring it from 25% to 50%, the tariffs.
Digesting the president's latest post on Truth Social, warning that the U.S. will add an additional 25% tariff to 50% on steel and aluminum coming into the U.S.
They're bad for American workers, bad for American industry.
Just look at what's happening in America right now. Prices are rising, factories are slowing, and jobs are disappearing. And it's not because of a war, a pandemic, or even a financial crash. It's aluminum. A single tariff decision has triggered one of the fastest industrial shifts in North America's history. And here's the kicker. While Washington flexed its muscles with a 50% tariff, Canada quietly walked away with the win. On June 7, 2025, former President Trump's administration raised tariffs on imported aluminum from 10% to 50%. The official reason? Protect American industry. The reality? Within 3 weeks, the fallout was brutal. Alcoa, America's largest aluminum producer, reported at least 20,000 direct job losses at its smelters almost overnight. Rising input and energy costs made operations unsustainable. And that pain didn't stop at smelters. It spread like wildfire through transportation, logistics, packaging, maintenance, and construction. By mid-July, over 100,000 American jobs were gone or hanging by a thread. And here's where it gets worse. Aluminum prices inside the U.S. skyrocketed. From late 2024 to mid-2025, prices shot up nearly 190%. Take a soda can factory in Indiana. Just months ago, they were paying about $2,200 per ton of aluminum. Today, that same ton costs nearly $6,400. Retailers had no choice but to pass those costs down to you. The result? That 99-cent can of soda is now $1.29. A $59 cookware set at Walmart pushed up to $70 in just weeks. And no, your paycheck hasn't magically gone up with it. So while Americans are feeling the squeeze at the grocery store, the hardware store, and even the Apple Store, Canada is cashing in. Canada holds a trump card: cheap, clean hydropower. In Quebec, electricity for smelters costs just 4.5 cents per kilowatt hour. Compare that to 8 or 9 cents in U.S. industrial states, and the advantage is obvious. But it's not just cheaper power, it's cleaner power. That matters because global markets, Europe, Japan, South Korea, are demanding low-emission metals. Canada is perfectly positioned to deliver. The numbers prove it. In the first quarter of 2025, Canadian aluminum exports jumped 21% year over year. Cities like Saguenay, Kitimat, and Sept-Îles are booming with new contracts. Low-emission Canadian aluminum is being snapped up to build EVs in Germany, cookware in France, and solar panels in Seoul. Meanwhile, U.S. producers are being sidelined. One German bike frame manufacturer, which used to buy 2,000 tons of U.S. aluminum every year, has now signed a 3-year deal with Rio Tinto Alcan in Quebec. The reason? Canadian aluminum saves them 15% per ton. Multiply that across global industries, and you see how quickly America is losing market share. But let's bring it home. This isn't just about factories or foreign deals. It's about your wallet. A MacBook Air M3, for example, could cost $120 more this year. Not because Apple suddenly got greedy, but because the aluminum that makes up its frame is more expensive. Beer cans, soda cans, cookware, laptops, car parts. Everyday items are all climbing in price. Now, here's the twist. Canada didn't retaliate with counter tariffs, loud protests, or fiery press conferences. Ottawa went silent. And in that silence, it played the smartest hand of all. Prime Minister Carney's government took a 2-track approach: diplomacy and strategy. On one hand, Canada quietly filed a complaint at the World Trade Organization, labeling America's 50% tariff a violation of global trade rules. On the other, it doubled down on diversifying away from the U.S. market. Trade talks expanded with the EU, ASEAN, South Korea, and even India. At home, Ottawa rolled out massive subsidies for its clean aluminum industry, funding new smelters, recycling plants, and semiconductor tech. In other words, Canada is turning aluminum into a cornerstone of its industrial future, and Canadians are all in. A June 2025 Angus Reid poll showed 91% of Canadians support reducing economic dependence on the U.S. That's the highest number in more than a decade. For them, this isn't just about aluminum, it's about independence. The impact on the U.S.? Massive. Canada's share of aluminum exports to the U.S. has fallen from 78% in 2024 to just 68% by mid-2025, the lowest level since NAFTA was signed. That's a 10-point drop in under a year. And the U.S. isn't replacing that supply easily. Instead, you're seeing ripple effects. Restaurants are struggling to keep costs down as packaging grows more expensive. Retailers are adjusting prices weekly. And in the industrial heartland of America, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, the pain is sharper than ever. Factories that once roared with activity are idling or shutting their doors. A report from the Manufacturing Institute found more than 14,000 jobs lost across the Midwest between June and July alone. Consumer confidence in the Great Lakes region has collapsed to its lowest point since the COVID crash of 2020. These aren't just numbers, they're livelihoods, families, communities, and all the while, Canada's industrial towns are humming with new contracts and foreign investment. It's a quiet but unmistakable power shift, not through tanks or treaties, but through trade. This isn't about winners and losers in the traditional sense. It's about who adapts and who doesn't. Canada is actively reshaping its economy, building ties with Asia and Europe, locking in its role as a clean aluminum superpower. The U.S., meanwhile, is watching industry shrink, consumers pay more, and workers lose jobs, all in the name of protection. So the real question is this: how much longer can America afford to play defense while its closest neighbor plays offense? Because make no mistake, supply chains are shifting, markets are realigning, and if Washington doesn't rethink its trade strategy soon, this temporary tariff could mark the beginning of a permanent decline in U.S. industrial power